Ghanim, Shanik, ready to go?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Good. Okay.
Ghanim's case is very unique in many aspects.
Today is the 29th?
29th.
Yeah.
It is a highly complex procedure
Okay.
and extremely severe.
So your name, Ghanim Alshnen,
Yeah.
correct? Your date of birth is 1st of July 1982.
Yeah.
36 years old. Okay.
This is all, as far as I know, a world's first. I don't think it's ever been done before anywhere. There is so much work that needs to be done and so many hurdles he has to overcome still.
Okay. That's the right side. Correct?
Yes, correct. Inshallah.
This kind of surgery is not just intensive from the technical point of view. It requires significant commitment, significant positive attitude.
We'll look after you. Take care. Yep. Okay.
It's long surgery, it's big surgery. But I'm very optimistic.
Okay. Let's get ready.
I'm with an amazing doctor in the world with a safe hand. So that's fine. I will just do it.
Ghanim has a special place in my heart.
Thank you.
I can relate to Ghanim from my personal story, and I think a person that goes through these kind of difficulties, they come out of it stronger and stronger.
Ghanim was a labourer working across various building sites across Sydney. So on November 6, 2018, he was working on a low-rise apartment building and the job was almost done, so he was working on the top floor.
The job changed my life. This job sign, it's very hard. And even I can't watch the building. I never be even in this area again.
The job he was supposed to be doing was placing steel reinforcement bars into the wall cavity of this worksite.
And I start to put the bars inside the wall. That's all what I remember.
My understanding that Ghanim was holding a metal bar, and somehow that metal bar have touched a live wire.
He's essentially had a huge electric shock and he's lucky to be alive. His heart stopped and I'm pretty sure he was like clinically dead at some point.
There tends to be an entry point and an exit point for high voltage electricity. So I think he's conducted through both hands. Through the left, he's conducted across his chest. He's conducted up his right arm. It's blown out the back of his shoulder.
I hear all this story after, like, they say you had electric shock, big electric shock. It was a daytime, but we see on the sky looks like a fireworks.
He was brought to our intensive care unit. He was stable, but he had a large amount of dead tissue on him, and I didn't think his hands were viable.
It looked almost like if you'd kept the sausage on the barbecue too long and it popped. Backs exploded, hip exploded, arms exploded, just raw.
I was crying that time. I talked to the doctor, please do anything, don't cut my arms.
It was really hard to tell him that he was going to lose both hands because that's a slow thing to process for people. It's an intimate thing. You can't feed yourself. You can't wipe your own bottom. You are reliant on other human beings then.
You have two choices. Give up or be positive and looking forward. Yes, I lost my arms, but I'm still alive.
He had 6 operations here at Concord.
Got it back.
And he was here for 3 months. Welcome back.
Oh, no.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
The day that he accepted he was going to lose his limbs, he became this inspirational, positive person that he would overcome this. One of the biggest jobs when you first got here was crowd control. We had a sea of people outside ICU, and then your clever day when you worked out that you could use your great toe to use a mouse on the floor. I remember walking in that day and went,
Yeah.
he's going to be just fine. I don't think Ghanim would be here if he didn't have a positive attitude. Munjid heard about Ghanim through the Iraqi community because obviously they share a common heritage.
Before the accident, I heard about Munjid al-Mudarris, and I was really proud because he's Iraqi too.
Dr. Munjid al-Mudarris is a world-renowned orthopaedic surgeon who specialises in preparing amputees for the attachment of prosthetic limbs.
I think he's a world leader in the surgery. He's now in a position where he's teaching and educating other surgeons throughout the world.
I received a phone call from Ghanim and he said, look, I need some help here. And I said, look, I'm more than happy to help you.
I think Ghanim is important to Munjid. There's similarities, obviously, in the journeys and the hurdles that they've had in life.
I grew up in Iraq very comfortably. I was a spoiled brat with a silver spoon in my mouth. I was a junior doctor in Baghdad, and all of a sudden everything changed.
One day in 1999, a busload of army deserters arrived at the hospital and the doctors were ordered to mutilate the army deserters' ears.
The head of the department refused openly. They simply dragged him outside to the car park, put a bullet in his head, and then turned to the rest of us and they said, well, now we attracted your attention. Anyone share this man's view, come forward. Otherwise, proceed with our orders.
Munjid obviously had a choice. He either mutilated people's ears, which was against his Hippocratic oath, or he would die.
I decided to escape. I had to risk my life till I got to Australia on a leaky boat that's not seaworthy. And the journey was horrific.
After arriving in Australia, Munjid was taken to Curtin Detention Centre.
And that was hell on earth. I was stripped of my human identity. I was called by number 982 for almost a year. Eventually, I was found to be a legitimate refugee and I was given a visa. Can you point this side?
Just all around here.
I want to pursue my dream of become a surgeon and do reconstructive surgery. Is the pain here? I lived in a country that's war-torn, and I've seen a lot of disabled people, and I always had this dream of giving people the ability to function again. She doesn't have any pain. Then I discovered that it is a technology that's available. In the morning, after I finished my training here in Australia, I went and studied about the osseointegration techniques in Germany. Except that pleurotic type. And then I came back and I started the process.
By 2012, Munjid was well established in his pioneering surgery for amputees. It was around this time that Ghanim's troubles started in Iraq.
Ghanim was from southern Iraq. He had a wife and 3 young boys and he was working as a policeman. Part of Ghanim's role was to take notes and prepare reports as part of interrogations. When a militia commander was captured and questioned, Ghanim was asked to change the report.
I said to him, I'm not going to do this. This is wrong and this is a mistake. He said, you will do it.
After Ghanim refused to change the report and the commander was sentenced, he was threatened that there would be retribution for this.
A bomb was put into his car, and if it wasn't for his son, Ali, Ghanim probably wouldn't be here today.
My son Ali called me. He said, "Dad, you forget your phone." When I back up to back up my phone, the car exploded. I never forget that time. My son saved me.
Ghanim knew pretty quickly that he had to get out of Iraq, but he knew it was too dangerous to take his family with him, so he resettled them in another area, and he began his journey to Australia with the promise to his family that he would get them there as soon as he could.
It was very hard. It's really hard when they make a decision to leave your family without no choice.
Ghanim made his way to Indonesia, where he got on a leaky fishing boat. At the time he arrived at Christmas Island, the government's policy had changed, and Ghanim was sent to Nauru.
It was the mental health conditions that were what made Nauru so difficult.
You wake up morning, you find someone hanging himself, someone killing himself.
Eventually, the men were offered an opportunity to relocate to Australia as long as they signed a document that said they would restart their processing.
Ghanim unfortunately signed that document. So it's not a permanent protection visa. It would mean that he could never bring his family here to be with him.
We don't have any choice. We have to.
Ghanim was released into the community on a bridging visa.
The group of Iraqi men with whom Ghanim was a part of, they seemed to settle reasonably well, and a lot of them found work as carpenters and in the kind of construction work and in trades.
It was very, very nice life, but only one thing, it's make me keep thinking my family to be there.
Ghanim knew he had to get his family out of Iraq, and he managed to get them to safety in Finland, where they were welcomed with open arms as refugees.
That day it was really make me really happy and my family safe.
It was in early 2017 when Ghanim finally had his interview to see if he'd be accepted as a refugee and given a protection visa.
I got refused. Then we send the letter again. And again, I get refused.
After the appeal was refused, his only avenue was the Federal Circuit Court.
My hearing with the Federal Court set down for November 15, but then the accident happened 6 November, and everything changed.
Since Ghanim's accident, his case is in limbo because of his ongoing medical treatment.
So this arm is functional. As you can see, you can move it, okay?
Munjid took over Ghanim's care in January and he moved him to Macquarie Hospital.
That's good range, which is good.
He then went through another round of surgery to prepare him for the final osseointegration surgery.
Osseointegration simply means joining or integrating with the bone. So it's a connection of an implant with the living bone. It allows the patient to use mind-controlled robotics. According to the doctors, it's never been done before on someone who's lost both arms.
So this is the implant.
Australia and our team is definitely the leading team in the world at the moment in osseointegration surgery. So there are critics of osseointegration. They thought this is a completely crazy idea because a piece of metal sticking out of skin is definitely going to have an infection.
X-ray.
But we are proving now that it does work.
I might be able to refashion all of this scar.
Ghanim's is a highly complex procedure.
And preserve your function.
Because of the electric burn, because of the nature, it's bilateral, because it's below the elbow.
Are they sensitive? Do you have sensitive?
Yeah.
أكو أماكن حساسة عندك؟
It would have been a really great experience for Ghanim to have Munjid Al-Mudaris as his doctor. Suddenly you're having these very complex surgeries and procedures explained in your own language.
ده أحس أماكن حساسة.
Okay. تأذيك؟
لا.
Okay.
There was a real tricky time there where Munjid was encouraging Ghanim to get his operations done as quickly as possible. But there was no way that Ghanim was going to have any significant operations without having his family by his side.
To not see my family for 7 years is very hard. Because the life without your family, nothing.
He got some advice in terms of getting the family over here to Australia. It was a battle.
I was really very close to lose my hope. Till when my lawyer, she's coming to the hospital, and she said, your family get proof for a visa to coming to Australia. Maybe I screaming to be like very excited. I make all Macquarie Hospital wake up.
I was asked by Ghanim to take him to the airport to pick up the family.
When I arrive, I try as much I can to control my breathing, my heart, I can't.
And then suddenly we heard this little voice, and it was Ali, his eldest son.
He say, Baba. I go straight away to the end. And I sit on the floor to hug him. Then my wife, then the twins again. That time I feel like just like my life, real life, just to start now. When I hugged my family, it was like I have everything in the life. I have everything.
بس ممكن انت تتوقعين so right above elbow amputation وبالنسبة للجهة اليسرى راح نسوي له osseointegration للعظمين الراديوس والulnar. Okay? So just your signature here because he cannot sign.
Now my family next to me, I will go with a smile and my eyes closed to my surgery. Inshallah.
The operation that we are about to do now, if everything goes well, according to plan, then Ghanim will have a very strong chance that he would be fitted with robotic arms and move on with his life. 2 teams work on each arm separately, and it will take possibly 10 hours. The left side involve insertion of high tensile strength titanium implants into the residual bone and connecting these implants into a robotic arm.
The way that arm is made to work is that the electrodes and software in the arm can read tiny twitches in the muscles in the remaining arm to open and close the hand.
The right arm is a lot more complex, so we had to go above the elbow. We have to utilize muscles that normally not functioning to operate a finger and regroup them in order to operate the finger again. Though it's completely different procedure and maybe 100 times more complex, it's the same philosophy. He think about moving his thumb and the thumb will move. Everything went according to the plan. It went very well.
Perfect.
That's good. Yeah. After the operation, he threw himself into this rehabilitation process. So we had weights on his arms to build up the muscles in his biceps, so he could eventually have the robotic arms attached to them.
The family just be next to me. This is big care and support. And the good thing, Ali, my son, he know how we change all the screws for my hand. Okay. And help me to do the loading. I start to play soccer with my kids, and I was really enjoying it, and I'm happy. Even I don't want to see anyone, just I want to stay with my kids. I can't say disabled because I'm not disabled with my family, not. There is only one thing it's really hurting me. I wish my hand there is to hug them properly. But I believe that always what's happening, there is a reason behind. The reason is I lost my arms to see my family after 7 years.
So a lot of people started to hear about Ghanim's story and wanted to help, and Troy set up a GoFundMe page and convinced Ghanim to run in the City to Surf together with him.
3, 2, 1. I just thought he still has his legs, and what can we do, in terms of him having impact and making a bit of a statement. And he was just like, I'm there, I'm going to do it.
Everyone, when they saw me, they was really happy and excited.
So well, Ghanim.
Some people, they give me some support. Good on you, mate. Keep going.
You did so well.
Yes, I'm gonna keep continuing to work.
The incredible thing about that day was at the end of it, Ghanim had to say goodbye to his family. The visitor's visa only allowed the family to stay 3 months at a time, and there was an enormous effort to get Ghanim's 3 boys into school here in Sydney, but that just simply wasn't possible. So Ghanim saw it as best for them to return to Finland where they could get an education. He said waking up the next morning was one of his most horrific moments that he can remember.
Don't know how he did it. I mean, how do you go into a house that was full of laughter and children and noise to nothing?
It was a very difficult time for him. He was not in a good spot after they left. It was quite noticeable.
After weeks of pretty intense physio, Ghanim was ready to try out the robotic arms. And I think there was a lot of excitement, but a lot of nerves around whether he would be able to use them, how they would function, would it be easy or difficult? Would it revolutionise his life, or would it be a poor substitute for his actual arms?
Very good.
Yeah.
And we'll plug you in.
I tell you the truth, the first time I was a little bit nervous.
Up here on Ghanim, we have a custom-made cuff that houses 8 pairs of electrodes that pick up the muscle movement that Ghanim performs. The software allows us to assign those EMG patterns to certain movements on the wrist and on the hand. So if Ghanim thinks about moving his palm down and activates the muscles in his arm that used to do that when he still had a hand, we should see the hand moving down. Maybe you can do that, Ghanim. Excellent.
When he asked me, open your hand, actually, when I open my hand, I use my old hand, That's the nerve is still working. So just I feel it, I open my hand.
So I'll get you to open your hand. Excellent. And just close on this bag. Mentally, it is very exhausting for Ghanim to learn all these movements. and you can hold it like that. Operating a prosthetic arm is mentally extremely fatiguing.
Usually when I finish from the training, straight away I go to bed like about 2 hours to get a rest.
You feel thirsty? Have some water.
So far, Ghanim has proven to us that whatever you throw at him, he will work with, and he exceeded all our expectations.
The last training, when I done it, it was amazing. The first time I drink water by myself. And also, I eaten chocolate.
It's okay. Get the wrist. Oh, you can rotate wrist as well if you want.
The staff that have been involved in this process of getting Ghanim's arms back are just gobsmacked at how he's adapted to the technology.
Can you reach the back of your teeth?
I'm very happy and excited to use my hand normally again. And I feel I'm very close to use it like normal.
Yeah.
This is world-first stuff. It's uncharted territory. And we're only talking at the moment about his left arm. The next challenge is Ghanim's right arm.
I'd have a selfie.
I think it's really important that Ghanim is, for at least the next few years, based in Sydney.
I don't understand any human being would determine that a person like Ghanim would survive in an environment like Iraq at the moment.
Given the extent of his injuries and the medical team that is looking after Ghanim, I don't think Finland is ever going to be an option. He has amazing medical team who are not, I just don't believe his team anymore. They're his friends, they're his family.
I can't even imagine what it would be like to lose your arms, but within this tragedy there has been this kind of silver linings of meeting wonderful people like Troy and his family and, you know, connecting more with the Iraqi community and seeing how they've supported him. In the absence of his family, who are now in Finland, he's had other people kind of step in and support him.
That's it, big smile. Look up here. Yay!
I'm very lucky I have these friends. Some of them, they come in with me, same boat. They stay with me with a bad day and a good day. They always support me.
Just I want to say thank you very much for all your company. Come and join me at my home. I hope you enjoy the food, and here you are.
You're welcome.
The people who live in Australia, they give me some support and they write in and they say, you have a good power, you're a strong man, continue. It's mean a lot for me.
Ghanim strikes me as someone who's thirsty for life and doesn't come across as someone who's feeling very sorry for himself. And that's a very important element that is required to achieve success.
All what I need, just to be in one place and safe and simple with my family. I still have hope. I never lost my hope. If I lost my hope, I'm not here right now.